What's up everybody, David Rodriguez here, Stomped, and in today's video I want to talk about my favorite family of exercises, the loaded carry. Today I'll be going over 3 different variations that you can use and that you can implement into your own exercise, into your workout programs. Loaded carries are great for developing, they can develop strength, they can develop conditioning, they also can develop stability, and also I think they're just fun. And they just make you feel strong, and they're just fun. Like, that's honestly like my number one reason why when I found out about them that I really liked them, because they're just super fun. So the 3 variations that I'm going to talk about today are going to be the bear hug, the overhead carry, and the suitcase carry. And each of them have their own benefits, and each one of them kind of specifically are better at doing one thing than the others. So let's go ahead, let's get into it. So the first and probably the hardest variation to accomplish will be the bear hug variation of the loaded carry. And the only reason that I say it's the hardest to achieve is because typically you're going to need something that is fairly heavy relative to your body weight. So if you can pick up half your body weight in a bear hug, that's pretty good. But also the other problem is that you need something obviously to wrap your arms around. So it doesn't really help if you load a barbell with like half your weight and you're trying to, I mean, you could do that, but I mean, you're not going to gain the benefits of actually having to create the crushing strength that you need to, right, whenever you're trying to bring and hold that, whatever it is. Obviously, typically, usually it's a bag close to your body, developing that crushing strength that you need to keep it there and keep it pressed to your chest and keep everything here in your stomach nice and tight. So this is probably the hardest, again, variation to accomplish. But if you have, again, any kind of sandbag, any kind of maybe even just regular backpack that you can fill up with stuff, you should be good to go for this variation. Now, there are multiple ways to pick it up. Again, so what I like to do is I always just like to stand it up first. And me, I personally I have good mobility, so I always like to kind of just get underneath it like this. Again, right, you're trying to squeeze and make sure everything stays as tight to you as possible. You're squeezing here right off the bat, just like you would for a regular squat. And so from here, I squeeze, I keep everything nice and tight, I brace, and then I just push. So I don't think about lifting the bag up with my arms, I think about pushing into the ground with my feet. So, right, so if I were lifting up with my arms, it'd kind of be more like this, right? Everything feels a little bit awkward and I start to tip forward. If instead I start pushing into the ground with my feet, I come more straight up. Just like that. And now I have to squeeze, keep everything nice and tight. You can walk with it forwards, backwards, or you can just hold it. It doesn't matter. So that's one way of picking it up for a bear hug. So the second variation is called the cradle. I learned this from Brian Alger. He also has a good tutorial, specifically talking about sandbags. But so all it is again, I always like to stand up my bag, whatever it is that I'm carrying. This is going to be more for people who their arms, right, it's hard for you to kind of get a handle or to get underneath this bag, and that you can't pick it up like I did, right? But you also can't get underneath it if it were laying flat on the ground and you were trying to work your way up, work your way around, kind of like this, and you picked it up like this. So instead, what you're going to do, right, stand it up. You'll tip one side over. You'll bring one arm underneath, just like you would, right, if you're cradling a baby or anything like that. One hand kind of just guiding the weight, making sure that it doesn't tip over. Right here. Make sure you get the hand underneath. You squeeze again, right, pushing into the ground, not lifting up, but pushing into the ground. You push, set that bag into your knees, right? So you can squat into it. And now you can kind of sit here and you can kind of maneuver it around however you need to be able to pick it up or whatever, right? So from here, you would just stand up, squeeze it nice and tight. Again, that's my favorite variation. It's good for, again, so this is going to be mostly for developing your strength, right? If you are getting big bags, so anything that's probably above half of your body weight is where things are going to start becoming a little bit more strength based, obviously. And if you start to choose to walk with it, depending on distance and rest times, that's what it can also start developing your conditioning as well. So and now we're going to go ahead and move on to the easier variations. At least they're easier to achieve with the household items that you have at your home, which will be, first one will be the overhead press. The second one will be the overhead press that I talk about. I did a workout with my dad yesterday and there was still a sticker in the stupid bag. All right, so back to what I was saying. So you're going to try and get it into your front loaded position right here on your chest. Up. About here. I like to keep it about right here in front of me. And then you just squeeze and hold it. Make sure everything stays nice and tight. You don't obviously want to be throwing your hips out too much, and you don't want to be leaning too far forward, right? Obviously, head and chest, head through your arms, keeping everything nice and tight, engaging those shoulders, squeezing everything up. So you don't want your shoulders to be depressed down. You want to be trying to squeeze and pushing everything up as much as you can. Now, the great thing about the overhead press or the overhead press walk is that if you don't have a sandbag, you don't need a sandbag, you can achieve the same results with either a barbell if you have it at home or a dumbbell, right? So again, the idea is the same right here, front load position, squeeze up, just like that. Making sure everything again, head stays about even with the arms. You don't want to be leaning too far backwards, you don't want to be leaning too far forwards. And you can do it with one arm here, or you can do it with both arms up. It just depends on what you're going for. So this one for the overhead press is obviously going to be working more for your shoulders, shoulder stability. Again, I find this one to be a little bit more for conditioning, but you can also, if you continue to do overhead presses multiple times, you can also use it to develop your strengths with an uneven object, such as a sandbag if you have it at home. Well, I'm getting out of breath. So finally, the last one is going to be the suitcase carry. Oh, so these last two ones are also very good for developing stability all up and through your core. Like I said, the overhead press is really good for developing stability in your shoulders. This depends on which one exactly you're looking to do. So let's go ahead, move on to the suitcase carry. Once again, the suitcase carry can be used with either a sandbag or a duffel bag or anything that you have filled with stuff, and or dumbbells, right? Or kettlebells. It doesn't just have to be, you don't have to have a sandbag at home to be able to do this. So if we're going to be going for a suitcase carry variation, we're going to want to be more in the middle, right? At least as in the middle as possible as you can with the bag. You will probably want the handles, right, obviously being somewhere right here, calves, knees. Instead of being here and trying again, we're not trying to pick it up like this, right? You're going to be trying to squeeze and push into the ground, lifting up, not in a circle. So right here, right, big chest up, everything hips loaded, we squeeze, boom, and then we can either hold it, or again, we can walk back and forth a set distance, whatever. Again, so now from the front, right, grab it on the other side. Again, I want this ankles, knees in a straight line-ish. Handle right here in the middle. Keep everything nice and tight. Squeeze, load your hips. Brace, and lift up. Bam. You get to go for the handle. So again, like I said, same thing. You don't have to even have this. You can just have this. It's the same, right? Now, obviously, the more weight that you have, the more beneficial that this is going to be. If you're going for strongman competitions, you are going to definitely want above your body weight, or yeah, not above your body weight, but at least over half of your body weight. If you're just looking to develop your strength and stability, anywhere between your half your body weight and around like your body weight and a quarter, if that makes sense. So if you weigh 180 pounds like I do, so anywhere between 90 and 100 and probably 30 pounds, these are just numbers that are coming off the top of my head. 90 to 130 pounds, 150-ish pounds is where you're going to start really wanting to developing your strength, and obviously going above and beyond if you're really serious in competing in like strongman type events. But if you're just like general fitness, just trying to get stronger, again, body weight, half your body weight. So for me, if you're 180 pounds, anywhere between probably like 90 and 150, you're going to be good to go, especially if you're just doing these movements for fun. So the suitcase carry is obviously going to target more of your obliques. Typically on the opposite side, you're going to have to squeeze everything on this arm. Whichever arm's holding the weight obviously has to squeeze, keep everything nice and tight here, but you also have to prevent yourself from coming like this. You have to squeeze and cinch this side down to keep everything in the middle as possible. You don't want to be walking around like this with your suitcase carry, right? And you don't want to be using your leg to pull you through like this. You're going to try and walk with it as straight as you can, right? Up and down for however long. Again, depending on sets, reps, rest times is going to determine whether or not you're doing strength or conditioning style workouts. So this is Dave Rodriguez, Stomped. Hope you'll like this loaded carry variation. It's real fun. I found out about them last year at my internship, and I now finally made these sandbags so that way I could start doing them more in my workouts. So I'm super stoked about that. Hope to see y'all next week, and I will please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Stay safe. Peace.